Now we're going the other way.
Now we're going the other way. Oh, darn. Oh, what did you need? Go ahead. Come on. Go ahead.
I need to get my one computer on.
So this is Ask Tandem. This is we're in the Countryside Cafe in Colts Neck, and Robert is back there trying to get set up for our Tandem Path meeting. So we're just doing a little snippet beforehand. So questions coming up shortly. I'll throw that in somewhere. All right. That's right.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, this is Ask Tandem. We are actually shooting on location at the Countryside Cafe before our Tandem Path meeting and Colts Neck, and I wanted to thank Glenn coming out for our host with Tandem Radio, as well as Dave from the Institute of Responsible Wealth. So here we go. So the question today for Ask Tandem is, if you graduated college, right, and you're out, you're looking for a job, you're not making tons, but you're making okay wage. What are the first steps that you would take to get yourself set up for the next 5, 10 years?
Good question. I think that one of the first priorities is to have a little lesson about finances, and what I call kind of 101.
Yeah.
Meaning, a lot of people when they first graduate, they don't have a clue with regards to what the purpose of money is, or what they should be doing with their money, or how to save money. And a lot of them now are coming into the workforce with a lot of debt.
Yeah.
So the first thing we'll see is that we're talking a lot about how do you properly pay off, whether it be institutions or banks that you were able to get money from in order to finish your education. For student loans, right? Yeah, for student loans and things of that nature. So I think debt management is one of the first critical points, and then really the earlier the better in terms of savings, which is I believe you got to save. You got to be a good steward of your money, and 10 to 15% of your gross income is kind of a good place to start in terms of putting it away for the next 5, 10, or 15 years and beyond.
Yeah, great. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's important to have a good philosophy of where you want to go in the future, and understand the stock market's not for everybody, right? Sometimes it's life insurance, sometimes it may be precious metals, sometimes maybe your own business, whatever it may be, but the point is that you want to have a good philosophy down. If it's the stock market, then fine, know what you're doing, what you're going into, find a professional that can help you in that area, but don't just give it up to somebody. I think God wants us to be good stewards. I mean, they want us to be involved in it. You may not have your hands in it per se, but you should understand and know what the philosophy is. And like Dave says, putting aside a percentage and living without that percentage and knowing that for the rest of your life, it becomes very comfortable. But if you're constantly using every single dollar you have, it gets very difficult the older you are to save just a little bit. And of course the debt mountain is huge, because that's the killer for everybody. For my generation, it was credit card debt. For the new generation coming out of college, it's school debt. And it's something that God doesn't want you to be in debt, because debt is bondage. No matter how you look at it or who you owe it to, in some way, shape, or form, it's bondage. So Dave is right. Focus on the debt, and there's even a balance there. If you're paying 20% interest on debt, and you're making 5% interest over here on investments, do the math. Get your debt done first and do what's right for you and your family.
Yeah, so it sounds like even having a financial plan and some financial goals is a good idea, and then getting some expert help to think those things through would be a good idea.
Absolutely. And God's very clear in the Old Testament about setting aside, I mean, he set aside. People talk about the tithe, I always got to throw giving in there. Yeah. People talk about the tithe, well, the Israelites of days gone by in the Old Testament gave a portion not only for the tithe, but gave a portion for the Levites, gave a portion to the king for infrastructure and all that stuff. So, they were giving away bigger chunks than we even give away. We think taxes are high now, but in the Old Testament it was even higher. So the point is, God put that philosophy in our minds, and we need to think that way. That, we owe taxes, pay the taxes. We owe for this, pay that. We owe for that, pay that, and put some aside for yourself.
Great, great. Well, thank you. Well, this is Ask Tandem. We are live on location in Colts Neck at the Countryside Cafe before our Tandem Path meeting. Well, thank you for joining us. You can find out more at tandemradio.com. It's tandemradio.com.